Namaskar. Welcome to another episode of Editorial. Ajit Anjum, senior journalist, a very respected journalist. There is an FIR registered against him in Begusarai, Bihar. Let's deep dive and understand why this FIR has been registered. Let's get right into the show. Now, like I said, Ajit Anjum, a very prominent, very respected, and a very senior journalist, there has been an FIR filed against him. Now, this FIR has been filed against him in Begusarai district of Bihar. Okay. Now, before we get into why this FIR has been filed and how this FIR has been filed and all that, let me tell you what he was doing in that particular area, why he was doing what he was doing, and then we'll get into the FIR part of it. So, pehla issue samajhte hain. Now, let me try and explain to you in detail what this concept of special intensive revision means. Special intensive revision has been ordered by the Election Commission. Now, the Election Commission says that anybody whose name has appeared in the voters list after 2003 in Bihar, now Bihar has a total voter list of 7.8 crores voters. 7.8 crore voters. Now, anybody whose names have appeared after 2003, these people will have to verify their names. These people have to provide proof to the government saying that we are eligible voters, we are citizens of this country, we are eligible voters, and they have to file these forms. Now, if you actually look at it, 38% of the 7.8 crore voter, which is roughly translating to 2.9 crore voters, have to now give these forms. Only then will they be allowed to vote. Now, the question starts as to why? Why this now? Why this in 2025? If special intensive revision was required, you would have put it up in 2024 when you were electing the Prime Minister of this country. At that point in time, you wouldn't feel the need of putting up this kind of special intensive revisions. Why now? These are questions that obviously comes to mind of a journalist. Did the 2024 result make you want to do this now? Is that the reason? Isn't this a very obvious question? Ajit Anjum also thought the same. Ajit Anjum went there to investigate so that you know what the truth is. He was there to find out the truth and he dug deep. He went to ground zero. He went where these forms were reviewed and he tried to find out as to why special intensive revision now, which is the question I asked you too. So on ground, he found out that this is what a small clip from his video.
देखिए अभी ये जो कागज जमा कर रही हैं मैडम, इनमें से ये कितना होगा? 100 से ज़्यादा है शायद? जी 100 है। 100 में इसको माइक यहाँ रखें अगर, तो एक में कागज दिख रहा है कोई? एक में इधर है, तो 2 में कागज है। वो कागज क्या है? वो तो वही वोटर कार्ड है, तो वो तो ऐसे वैलिड नहीं है चुनाव आयोग की लिस्ट के हिसाब से। आधार कार्ड है, वो चुनाव आयोग की लिस्ट से बाहर है, तो वैलिड नहीं है। तो मतलब ये 100 में अगर देखें तो कोई कागज नहीं है। हाँ, ये सारे फॉर्म में फोटो नहीं है, कागज कुछ नहीं है, भरा हुआ यहाँ पे माता पिता का नाम और इपिक नंबर कुछ भी नहीं है। ये सारे फॉर्म अधूरे, यहाँ जीवन साथी का भी नाम नहीं भरा हुआ है। लेकिन बहुत सारे हम देख रहे हैं खाली मतलब फोटो भी नहीं है नया वाला। हाँ, आपने तो कोई दस्तावेज नहीं देख रहे हैं कहीं, सब बिना दस्तावेज के ही जा रहा है। सब बहुत कम है ना। देखिए सब सादा कागज है।
20 से 25%।
तो ये साइन विन ओरिजिनल है कि साइन भी ये है?
साइन ओरिजिनल है।
तो आपने कितना फॉर्म जमा किया?
900।
कितना में कागज आपके में गया दस्तावेज?
20 से 25%।
अब देखिए इन्होंने 900 फॉर्म अपलोड किए हैं, सुपरवाइजर हैं ये सब लोग, बलिया में हैं, इधर से और इनमें 20 से 25% इनमें दस्तावेज के साथ गया, बाकी बिना दस्तावेज के गया।
he found out that forms were filled without proper credentials attached, without photographs, without signature, without knowing whether the signature belongs to the person, etc., etc., etc. He wondered, why are such forms being filled? Why are these people added as voters? You see, there were allegations in Maharashtra where the court, of course, dismissed that petition from Congress. There were allegations that number of voters were increased in Maharashtra. Isn't it logical for a journalist to think that is this something similar happening in Bihar? So the fact remains that this journalist went and he found that there were forms without photographs. He found that there were forms without any attachments. He found that there were forms where they were not very sure whether the signature belongs to the applicants or not. He found those. He tried to show that to the camera. Now, other than being kudosed, other than being called and asked that, Bhaiya, aisa hua hai kya? Is that true? There is an FIR filed against him. I want you to know where all of this is going. I want you to know where all of this is going. A man who went to find the truth. I am not even saying what he found is the truth. I am not even saying that whatever he said is right. I am not even saying, but his intention was to, like any other good journalist, his intention was to investigate and find the truth and bring the truth in front of you. That was his intention. And under normal circumstances, in a democracy, such journalists are appreciated. Such journalists are given awards. And of course, we gave him an FIR. The first information report with the police. Now let me tell you what the first information report says. Okay. Now this first information report was filed by a gentleman called Muhammad Ansarul Haq, booth level officer, BLO, and this FIR was signed under the relevant sections of the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita and the Representation of People's Act 1951. Now, according to this BLO who filed the FIR, he says that Anjum pressurized him repeatedly to confirm whether electors of a particular community were being intimidated or influenced during the special summary revision SIR process. He said that is what Anjum did to him. He pressurized him to figure out whether, people of particular community, I believe Muslim community is what I think this could be hinting at. I think this is what he could be hinting at. I do not know. Maybe I am wrong. But are this particular community intimidated? This special community or this specific community intimidated? This is what he said. And Haq said he came and he was pressurizing me to answer these questions, Baba. He went on to say that though I tried to convince him that such allegations were baseless, he was not in a mood to relent and pressurized me to admit it. Now, I kind of didn't get this entire FIR. What did Ajit Anjum do? Ajit Anjum asked a BLO some questions, which he calls it as pressurizing. As in, I am sure, with looking at the size of Ajit Anjum, I don't think he went and intimidated by his sheer size or by some act of force or something. He asked him questions, which is what a journalist normally do. He went and asked this BLO a question, and if the BLO wanted, he could ask this guy, get out. He could ask Ajit Anjum to get out. He could block him. He could ask his his chaprasis or his security guard and get him thrown out. He could have done that, but no. He initially tried to convince this journalist that there was no pressure tactics, there was no pressure used to intimidate a particular community. He incidentally told him. But then he says that he was not convinced. Now, where is the problem? Where is the act? What is the criminal act? The fact that he asked him question, or the fact that the answer that this guy gave did not convince the journalist? What is exactly the problem here? I couldn't understand. The fact of the case is very simple, and I want you to be the judge of this. Because finally, you are the voter. You are the people who are choosing. And these people, these journalists who put their life on the line, who get intimidated, who gets FIRs, who gets raided, all of this. They do it so that you get your information, and I want you to have the information very clearly. A journalist walks into a place where this special intensive revision is a process wherein you are identifying, you are reconfirming that a voter is valid voter or not. The journalist finds that there are some applications which doesn't have photographs. There are some applications where he doubts whether the signature is that of the applicant. There are some applications which doesn't have supportings. He identifies that. He he goes out to the BLO, the block level officer. He goes out to the BLO, and the BLO claims that he asks him questions with his cameraman and others, asking him that is the particular community being intimidated. The BLO answers him, saying that no, they are not intimidated. Then the BLO goes and files a FIR saying that I answered him, but he was not convinced. So FIR. Does all of this make sense? You see, a journalist, that too somebody of an Ajit Anjum caliber, because he is a senior journalist, he is not somebody who started journalism yesterday. He's been into journalism for decades. He knows his job. That's the point I was trying to make. A journalist was doing his job. Job of guarding your democracy. Job of trying to be that fourth pillar of your democracy. He was trying to do his job. He was trying to find facts. The fact that would not personally help him, or that was not personally for him to earn money, or that was not personally for him to get some bribe. Nothing. The fact so that he can get and table it in front of you. He was trying to gather that fact. And in the process of trying to gather that fact, there was an FIR filed against him. My question to you, my audience, is how fair is this? How fair is this to a journalist? And if journalist of his caliber, of his seniority, if there are FIR filed against people like him, imagine what could happen to a young journalist. A journalist who represents a very small media house. A journalist who, at a young age, wants to do his or her job. Get facts in front of you and show you. What could happen to him or her? How many FIRs would have been filed like this? Just because somebody is trying to find out the truth. And finally, who is this FIR being filed against? Is the FIR being filed against a particular journalist, or is that FIR being filed against the democracy of this country? That's something that you need to judge. Till I see you next time. That's tomorrow at 10. Namaskar.